Now, one of my favorite things about going to film festivals is having the opportunity to not only see the movie early, but to go in without any sort of preconceived notions. No trailers. Sometimes these films don't have distributions. All you have is the cast, the genre, and a small log line. And you go in, you sit down, and then that movie just knocks you out cold. Now, in St. Maud, we follow Maud. She unfortunately had a traumatic event happen to her that led her down a path to become a religious woman, a spiritual woman at that, who believes that she has a true connection with God, and that the woman that she's now caretaking for, she believes that God has told her to save her soul, and she will do anything she can to achieve what God wants. St. Maud was one of my most anticipated films at Fantastic Fest because I love slow burn religious horror films. It is an absolute brand, and this just seemed right up my alley, and the reviews out of TIFF were incredible, so I just knew that I had to see this film. Now, St. Maud comes from first-time director Rose Glass, and this is her feature debut, and I cannot express just how much I love this movie. Like, whatever I say, know that deep down I love this movie even more. And I am so excited that A24 has acquired St. Maud, because that means when eventually it comes out, it will be a film that will be easy access for a lot of you guys out there, because I want you guys to see this movie as soon as it becomes possible. Now, I do want to emphasize that St. Maud is a slow burn horror film. Yes, it shares a lot of comparisons to other films similar to as Hereditary, The House of the Devil, The Witch, and one in particular, A Dark Song, that I saw huge influences throughout this film. But it's also its own separate entity, and man, oh man, did I love this film. I thought the characters were so rich and detailed and layered, and particularly Maud herself. Like, that character I'm going to be absorbed in and sitting with for an extremely long time. The progression of this film is fantastic. I think this movie is like 85 minutes long, and it moves beautifully. It's a slow film in terms of getting to the horror, but it's never a dry film in my opinion. The way that this film moves, it feels precise and timed and constructed, and everything is just brilliantly laid out. There's also a little bit of humor in this film, particularly in the first half, that I think works really, really well in my opinion. And the direction is beautiful. It's not overpowering, but it's absorbing. And I think from the beginning that this movie starts, there's a sense of dread that never lets up, that is just fantastic. I don't know what Rose's Glass's religious beliefs are, if she is a religious woman, but I love the religious subtext that this film has, and I think that this is one of the most powerful religious horror films I've seen in some time, because I think whether you're a Christian or wherever your religious beliefs are, there's a lot to absorb with this film. It's also terrifying. Creeps up on you, and you don't know completely whether or not you should be trusting Maud or sympathizing with Maud and her delusion or clarity, in which however you choose to look at it, is just engaging in every step of the way. And I was just absolutely blown away. If I had any small gripes, there's just this one small section of the film where the film does slow down just a bit, but it picks up immediately afterwards and delivers, in my opinion, one of the best executed jump scares I have ever seen brought to film. It terrified me to pieces. Like, I still am trying to put my body back together. I feel like I'm still levitating in the air from how high I jumped witnessing that scene. And it wasn't just me. Everyone in the theater lost their minds at this scene, and I really hope no marketing spoils it. And the final shot of this movie is horrific and horrifying, and almost alters the entire movie that plays before it, depending on how you process everything that came before it. I am dying to see this movie again, but I can also see a lot of general audiences not being with this film because of the slow pace that this film has. You know, this is one of those films that probably will do extremely well on the festival circuit, but when it comes out, people just don't gravitate towards because it's a little too dark, it's a little too heavy, and a little light on the scares in terms of what we get in terms of mainstream films. But I was blown away by this movie. Overall, Saint Maud is a knockout. It is gripping, it's terrifying, it's intense, it has incredible performances, it's directed with class, and I'm blown away that this is a feature debut. The score is really good, and the visuals are incredible, and it leads to a final 15 minutes that's utterly relentless, but also detailed and layered, and adds so much weight and opens the film up to endless conversations. If you love slow burn religious horror films, then you need to add Saint Maud to your watch list. As the score goes, I'm going to give Saint Maud a 4.5 out of 5. So you guys, there you have it. That was my review for Saint Maud. This movie was absolutely one of my favorite films of Fantastic Fest, and I can already tell you, if it comes out this year or next year, it will hands down be one of my favorite films of the year. I cannot... Oh my god, I love this movie so much, and I cannot wait for you guys to see this movie ASAP. So when it does become accessible, make sure to let me know in the comment section below, what did you think of Saint Maud when you see it? It's something. And until next time, you guys, I'm the Slasher Movier, and you guys have just been slashed.